Before we start, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Only 2% are subscribed at 1,000 subscribers. I'll be posting a special video. The lid snapped and coffee hit my wrist. Laughter burst from the line like a dare. "Careful, Grandpa," someone chirped near my shoulder. I looked up and saw my daughter already smiling. "I'm Daniel, 45. Mia stood with 3 classmates and a hungry grin. Her eyes slid over me like I was a prop. My stomach tightened and the room tilted hard. "Nice shirt," the tall one smirked at my chest. Mia's laugh landed before mine could form. "Classic discount, Dad," she added, tapping her phone. Heat rose and the straw in my cup trembled. "Cut it out," I managed, voice steady but thin. Mia rolled a wrist like she was brushing dust. "It's jokes," she said, eyes bright with audience. The line watched, waiting for a bigger hit. The tall friend leaned closer with a sneer. "Control freak energy," she announced for the room. Mia echoed it with a quick grin. My throat closed while a stranger studied me. I set the cup down and felt it shake. "Enough," I said, and the word scraped. Mia checked her screen and didn't look up. That tiny refusal sliced cleaner than the mockery. The barista called a name and flinched at the noise. Mia grabbed the drink I paid for without thanks. She passed it to her friend like a trophy. Something inside me shifted from hurt to decision. I paid for her order and the receipt stuck. She didn't reach for it, she posed instead. Clicks, giggles, a little chorus of victory. My jaw set and the room hushed in my head. We stepped outside and the air felt sharp. Mia launched questions about the sneaker drop. "Today, right?" she prodded, already pacing ahead. I walked slower and counted breaths that didn't help. "You join them," I said, keeping it even. She scoffed and brushed her ponytail like a whip. "It was harmless," she insisted, eyes already gone. I noted the word and stored it like evidence. We reached the car and she dangled expectation. "Don't be weird," she muttered, hand on the handle. My keys hovered and didn't turn. I saw the store reflected in the window like a verdict. I unlocked the door and she slid in fast. Her phone pinged and she smirked at a message. I gripped the wheel but not the anger. A plan clicked clean as a switch. Traffic crawled and the silence pressed hard. Mia hummed a tune that meant nothing. I pictured the aisle with shiny boxes. I pictured leaving them on the shelf. At a red light she tried a sweeter tone. "You promised," she said, chin high with certainty. Promises are contracts with 2 signatures. One of ours had just been torn. She didn't hear that thought, but she felt something. Her feet went still on the mat. She watched my face for a clue. I let the clue be steel. We parked and she leapt out first. No thanks, no check-in, just target acquired. I followed with a calm I didn't trust. Inside, I aimed for the moment that mattered. A clerk noticed Mia and lit up. "New release," he said, hands already moving. Mia's grin flashed at the mirror. I stood beside them and measured the cost. "Bring them up," Mia said, eyes on me. I kept my voice low enough for only us. "Not today," I said and held her gaze. She blinked like I'd switched languages mid-sentence. The clerk glanced between us and retreated. Mia laughed once, sharp in public. "Punishment," she announced, inviting witnesses again. I refused the stage and stayed with the truth. "Boundary," I answered and let the words stand. She stepped closer and tried to tower. I didn't move an inch. Around us, interest gathered like weather. Her phone buzzed and she ignored it now. Pressure swapped sides and she felt it. I saw the moment land behind her eyes. A crack, small but real, formed there. Mia squared her shoulders and lifted the box like proof. "Scan it," she told the clerk without looking at me. I watched the barcode pass and heard the beep hang. My silence made her glance up, hunting a weakness. "Card," the clerk prompted, eyes flicking between us. Mia pushed the chip in and glared through me. I held steady and let the moment breathe. The terminal flashed red and everyone leaned closer. She tried again with tighter lips and a wan smile. Another denial hit and her fingers twitched hard. A whisper from behind us rose like a draft. Mia's chin locked, then she shoved the box back. "Use yours," she pressed, voice bright with dare. I shook my head once and kept my hands down. "Respect first," I said, only loud enough for her. The clerk cleared his throat and shifted in place. Mia puffed air through her cheeks and turned theatrical. "Classic control," she announced to the nearest ears. A couple paused with carts angled for view. I stared at Mia and refused the crowd's script. "Price isn't the problem," I said, tone even. Her jaw worked and she bit down on pride. Then what is it? She threw back with a sharp blink. You chose laughs over me, I answered, steady as stone. She blinked again and fury flashed before doubt. That was nothing, SH. He snapped, shoulders pulled high. It was something, I countered, letting the words sit. The clerk stepped away and left us in a ring. A teen nearby snorted and muttered under breath. Mia shot him a look and lost her footing. I saw the wobble she would never admit. I didn't move an inch and the wobble grew. Let's go, I said, nodding toward the exit. She didn't budge, eyes drilling holes through me. Take the box, she tossed at the clerk. We're done here, I added with a calm I earned. We reached the doors and she matched my stride. Everyone saw that, she hissed, nails digging her palm. Everyone saw both scenes, I answered without heat. Her steps faltered and she swallowed something sharp. Outside, she wheeled on me with breathless urgency. You made me feel small, she pushed, voice tight. You invited an audience, I said, holding her gaze. If you ask me in private, I answered differently. She stared at the pavement like it held instructions. A car honked and broke whatever shield she had. Why not just buy them and talk later, she tried. Because later never arrives when winning feels better, I said. She paced 3 short lines and stopped on a dime. Okay, she said, the word brittle but brave. What now, she asked, hands empty and restless. We reset, I said, and waited for the challenge. How, she asked, shoulders dipping for the first time. You tell me what you wanted from that moment, I said. Her eyes flicked toward the store and then me. I wanted to look untouchable, she admitted through clenched teeth. And what did you get? I asked without pushing. I got noise, she said, breathing uneven and rapid. Noise costs more than shoes, I added and paused. She rubbed her forearm and glanced toward a trash can. I'll fix it, she blurted, not sure how yet. Start with today, I offered, giving a small path. She nodded once and the nod stuck like a seed. I felt the first true shift, not victory but movement. Her phone buzzed again and she didn't check it. Can we leave? She asked, voice lower and raw. We can leave, I said, and opened the car. She climbed in slowly, careful not to slam anything. On the drive, the air held a new charge. We passed the cafe that started the crack. She watched it slide by and didn't look away. I kept my eyes forward and waited for the next test. Halfway home, she touched my sleeve, then pulled back. I'll talk to them, she said, words measured and brave. Not for sneakers, I warned, letting it land. For me, she answered, and that sounded real. I nodded once and let silence reward her choice. The road thumped and counted out our breaths. Something about this quiet felt earned, not forced. I knew the real apology would cost her pride. As we turned onto our street, she cleared her throat. If I slip again, you hold the line, she said. I will, I answered and held the wheel steady. She leaned back and stared ahead like a promise. Her knock came quick and off rhythm. I opened the door and found her already in sneakers. Drive me back, she pushed, breath tight and fast. To the cafe, she added, eyes steady and wired. I grabbed keys and felt the risk bloom. On the porch, she bounced once like a runner. No speech, she warned, palms open like surrender. Just get me there before I lose nerve. We hit the street and she scanned for names. Group chat is buzzing, she muttered, jaw clenched. Then you go first, I told her, keeping lane. Her throat worked and she nodded once, not twice. At a red light, she pulled up a number. Put it on speaker, I said, keeping my voice flat. She tapped and the ring staggered long and jagged. The tall friend answered with a laugh that died. Meet me now, Mia said, no fluff and no plea. Pause landed and a clatter filled the line. At the cafe, Mia added, staring through the windshield. Bring whoever wants to watch, she finished, daring fate. We parked and she hopped out before the engine settled. Inside, people turned because she wanted them to turn. Her friend stood near the counter with 2 others. Round 2, someone whispered, smelling trouble from a mile. Mia walked straight to them without checking me. I crossed a line, she started, hands at her sides. You piled on a parent because it was easy. Her friend snorted and rolled a shoulder like a shrug. Relax, the friend tossed, eyes finding the audience again. Mia didn't blink and didn't smile this time. You used me to score cheap cheers, she said. And I used my dad as a prop, she added. The room tightened and I forced my gaze down. I would not rescue this moment with a speech. She had asked for my silence and earned it. Every beat felt like a glass step over nothing. The friend scoffed and tried a flashy comeback. Mia cut her off with a small, clean palm. You don't get to speak for me, she told her. You want to laugh and lost my trust, she pressed. The friend's face stiffened and a phone rose halfway. Go ahead, Mia said, eyes hard and bright. Post this part too, she added, voice clear and slow. Post the part where I fed you my father. I felt my grip loosen on an invisible rope. A boy near the door shuffled like he might leave. The barista froze mid-reach and waited for noise. No one moved first and the quiet carried weight. The friend tried another jab that landed short. Buy your own shoes, she chirped, fishing for approval. I will, Mia answered as if that debt was hers. And I'll start by paying an apology, she finished. I raised my head because that word carried charge. Mia turned to me and faced the whole room. What I did here was mean, she said. I made fun of your voice to look tough, she confessed. Heat crawled up my neck and I let it show. I did not nod and I did not smile. Are you done with that habit? I asked plain. I'm done offering you as bait, she said, hands shaking. The friend laughed again, but no one followed. Mia looked at her with a strange new calm. You can DM me if you miss the noise, she offered. I'll be busy fixing what I wrecked, she added. We stepped aside and a woman touched Mia's sleeve. Good spine, the woman whispered, then faced the counter. Mia swallowed and her shoulders dropped one notch. She blinked fast like something messy almost spilled. Outside, the wind kicked and carried a stray jeer. Mia flinched and reached for my sleeve, then stopped. Don't rescue me, she said, voice low and steady. Just walk near me while I take hits, she added. We reached the car and she held the handle. Not asking for the shoes, she murmured, eyes forward. Not tonight, I agreed, leaving room for later. She nodded and the nod looked earned, not borrowed. On the drive, my phone buzzed with unknown numbers. Mia glanced and clenched her teeth like a clamp. They're spinning it already, she muttered without fear. Then keep telling it yourself, I said, eyes on road. At a long light, she drew a breath and braced. I'll record a clip and own it, she said. Short and clean, I answered, giving only that. She opened the camera and stared down her old self. We pulled into our street and the clip saved. She didn't replay it and I did not ask. Tomorrow I talk to the clerk, she said. And I pay for the basics from my account, she added. I parked and cut the engine with a click. Mia stepped out and squared to me in the driveway. Keep the line where it is, she said, eyes clear. If I drift, pull me back hard, she finished. I will, I told her and meant every word. She nodded once and turned toward the door. I watched the set of her back and believed it. Still, I tasted the hint of another test coming. Knuckles hammered the door like a warrant. I opened and found a woman with a rigid jaw. You humiliated my kid, she barked, breath hot with accusation. Mia stepped beside me and gripped the frame, ready to snap. Inside or outside, the woman pushed, face inches from mine. Here is fine, I answered, keeping space like a shield. Mia lifted her chin and spoke before I could. I started it at the cafe and I'm fixing it. The woman blinked fast like the script just changed. She says you're punishing her with money, she shot back. Consequences match choices, I told her with a steady pause. You want cash to erase it or courage to address it. A car idled at the curb and someone filmed. The woman noticed and softened half a notch. Delete the clip, she called to the phone without looking. The engine revved and the lens didn't drop. Mia nudged me aside and faced the porch camera. I targeted my dad for laughs, she said, voice plain and hard. I invited people to watch, she added, hands open and still. I won't do that again, she finished, eyes unwavering. The woman's shoulders lowered, then lifted again on reflex. You could have handled it quietly, she muttered, searching for ground. Quiet is how I kept dodging it, Mia said, no tremor. Silence landed between us like a drawn line, sharp. The phone in my pocket vibrated and kept going. Unknown number flashed with a school prefix and urgency. Answer, Mia urged, reading my look like a page. I tapped accept and put it on speaker for daylight. This is guidance, the voice came clipped and careful. A post is circulating from the cafe incident, the voice continued. We need both of you here before lunch, the voice finished. We're coming, I said, and ended before doubt could grow. The woman on the step took one half step back. My kid will be there too, she announced with a stiff nod. Good, Mia replied, shoulders squared and eyes dry. Bring whoever laughs the loudest, she added, almost daring fate. We reached the car and I handed Mia the keys. You drive, I told her, a new kind of trust. She froze, then climbed in and adjusted nothing. Her hands held steady and the street unspooled clean. Halfway there, a message pinged on her screen. She ignored it and kept her eyes forward. Group wants drama, she said, jaw working once. Give them facts, I said, keeping my tone even. We checked in at the office with brief nods. A counselor ushered us into a room built for standoffs. 2 students waited with folded arms and practiced scowls. The woman from our doorstep hovered near the door. Let's stick to actions, the counselor began, clipboard tucked down. Mia started before anyone could crowd her voice. I piled on my dad in public to score points, she said. Then I invited the store to witness round 2. One classmate scoffed and crossed her legs tight. Everyone jokes, she tossed, aiming for easy permission. Everyone doesn't stage an audience, I countered, keeping words lean. Everyone doesn't use a parent as collateral, I added. The counselor held up a palm and cut the air. This isn't a trial, she said with firm pacing. We're establishing accountability and next steps, she continued. Mia lifted a sheet and didn't look at me. I wrote a statement for morning announcements, she said. No names, just a rule I'll follow, she continued. Mocking family in public breaks trust, she read aloud. I'll repair what I harmed starting today, she finished. The room shifted like furniture sliding into place. The other parent's chin eased and then set again. My daughter won't be blamed alone, she warned with heat. She chose her words, I answered, not looking away. The counselor scheduled a follow-up with a brisk tone. Apology to the cashier, she noted with a short tap. Restorative circle here tomorrow, she concluded, eyes on each face. No one argued, but nobody smiled. In the hallway, Mia exhaled and stared at the floor. Want me there for announcements? I asked, keeping it simple. No, stand in the lobby so I can find you after, she said. I will, I answered and meant it like a pledge. We drove to the shop without speaking much. Mia parked, shut off the engine, and sat still. Ready? I asked, giving her space to choose. She opened the door and stepped out like it might bite. The assistant recognized us and straightened with caution. Mia approached first and placed a folded note on the counter. I treated your space like a stage, she told him. I'm here to fix it with work if you'll have it. He studied her face, not the paper. We don't hire underage, he started, clearly uncomfortable. Then I'll sweep for free until the slate feels clean, she offered. He glanced at me and I kept my hands visible. Leave the note, he said after a long beat. Come Saturday and help stock for an hour, he added. No uniform, just effort, he finished, voice less guarded. Mia nodded once and the tension loosened a fraction. Back at the car, she leaned her forehead to the wheel. That felt smaller than the damage, she murmured, eyes closed. It's a start, not the whole road, I told her. Starts count when you keep walking, I added, letting it hang. Her phone pulsed again and again until it stopped. She finally checked and winced at a fresh clip. A splice cut her apology into a taunt. Fake remorse, the caption crowed, rallying strangers. She handed me the screen with steady fingers. I can take this, she said, voice low but certain. You don't have to take it alone, I answered, anchoring her. Then stand near me while I answer, she said. We recorded in the empty seat with one shot. No edits, she started, eyes front and clear. I mocked my father on purpose and I regret it, she stated. I'm owning that and repairing it, she closed, no wobble. She posted and locked the screen with a firm tap. I'm not asking for shoes, she said, almost a smile. I know, I replied and let the quiet breathe. We both heard the next hit loading somewhere ahead. The intercom crackled and called my last name. I stepped into the lobby and found Mia already waiting. Her hands were steady but her jaw kept flexing. Hall first, she said and took off like a sprinter. Students lined the corridor as if a show was starting. Phones angled low like hungry birds ready to peck. Mia climbed the small platform outside the office and breathed. I have something to own, she told them, voice clear. A few laughs popped and then faded under her stare. I mocked my father in public to look untouchable, she said. It wasn't wit, it was cruelty in costume, she added. I'm rebuilding trust starting now, she finished and held still. A teacher nodded once but kept her eyes scanning. Someone near the lockers clapped slow and sarcastic. Mia didn't flinch and that quieted the ripple. She pointed toward the counseling door like it burned. We entered the circle room and found chairs already placed. The counselor marked a folder and looked up briefly. Speak to actions and impacts, she reminded us without ceremony. Mia faced the cashier who had agreed to join. I turned your shift into my spotlight, Mia began. I created a spectacle and dragged him through it, she continued. Tell me what that cost you today, she asked, standing ready. The cashier rubbed his wrist and chose his words carefully. I had to separate customers who started arguing, he said. I fielded calls and posts and a fake complaint, he added. I feared you would come back with more. Friends, he finished. Mia inhaled like the weight finally landed on her chest. I will work Saturday and do whatever task you assign, she replied. Not as punishment, as repair, she said, eyes unblinking. The counselor wrote 2 lines and drew a small square. Agreement noted, she stated, cutting off any side chatter. A door clicked and a dean stepped inside briskly. We have a second issue, he said, holding up a tablet. A spliced clip painted Mia as bragging about me. It had our street in the background and a countdown overlay. Source, I asked, because distance mattered now. Anonymous, likely a student, he answered, shoulders tight. It names your home and invites people to drive by, he added. Mia's knuckles went white against the chair edge. I stood and felt that familiar urge to shield. Mia lifted a palm to stop me and faced the dean. Call it out now, she said, voice flat and controlled. Say it's harassment, say it's unsafe, she pressed. The dean nodded once and walked out, dialing fast. The counselor wrote another square and circled it twice. You have the lobby microphone, she informed Mia. Use it for a direct correction, she suggested without blinking. We followed the dean back into the hallway. Students flowed around us like a narrow river. Mia moved to the intercom and waited for the tone. Listen, the clip with our street is a lure, she announced. You want war, pick me, not my family, she continued. I'll speak with you face to face after school, she offered. Bring words, leave the threats, she finished and cut the line. A murmur rolled and then broke apart like ice. The dean pulled me aside near the office doorway. Want an escort home? He asked, measured and steady. No, I answered after weighing what courage ignores. We'll vary our route and watch the corners, I added. We met back in the circle room for one last step. The counselor assigned reflection notes due tomorrow morning. Mia accepted the stack without complaint or delay. We left that room lighter yet still braced for impact. Outside, the sidewalk carried students spilling stories. A familiar car swung in too fast and blocked us. The tall friend jumped out with her phone already recording. Her mother sat behind the wheel with eyes like knives. Ready for your close-up, the friend taunted with a grin. Mia angled her shoulders and placed herself between us. You want clicks here, she said, lifting her chin. Ask me anything you want to throw, she added calmly. Who made you cry? The friend jeered, waggling the phone. You did, and I let you, Mia answered without trembling. You hungry for more? She asked, stepping one pace closer. Then put the phone down and talk with a spine. The mother cleared her throat but didn't get out. Stop baiting my kid, she warned through a half window. Mia turned to her without raising her voice. Pull up or back off, no drive-by parenting, she said. The window slid up and the car eased away. The friend stayed, suddenly smaller without her backup. She'll be mad at me, the friend whispered, eyes wet. Stand up to her then, Mia replied, not unkind. The friend looked at me like I might interrupt. I kept my face plain and my mouth shut. She lowered the phone and pocketed it slowly. Then she walked off without turning around once. We headed to the cafe before nerves could sour. The cashier was mid-shift and looked surprised to see us. Mia moved behind the counter line and waited for permission. Saturday still stands, she asked, hands open and empty. He nodded and pointed to a clipboard with tasks. Mia scanned the list and chose the hardest first. I'll start there on the weekend, she said crisply. He gave a brief tilt of the head and returned to work. Back on the sidewalk, another message lit her screen. She frowned and opened the group thread despite the risk. Screenshots showed a rumor that I banned humor at home. Lie, Mia muttered, then hit record with her thumb. Clarification, she said to the camera without makeup. I'm not silenced at home, I'm not bribed, she stated. I'm choosing respect because the other route wrecked me, she continued. My dad isn't perfect, he is present, she ended. I stared at the curb so I wouldn't grin. Pride is a slippery thing when it shows too bright. I kept it low inside my ribs and steady. We started toward the car when a horn blared twice. A sedan rolled slow with windows cracked just enough. A voice from inside shouted a slur toward me. Mia stopped and looked straight at the moving shadow. Try that without a windshield, she called, fists at her sides. The sedan sped off as if chased by its own echo. I checked her face for regret and found none. You cannot square up with every ghost, I warned gently. I'm not chasing them, I'm deterring, she answered, breathing hard. We took a longer route home with quick eyes. Mia watched intersecting streets like a goalkeep. Our testing angles. I gave her the map and kept my foot measured. We reached our block with nothing trailing us, still adrenalized. Inside, her phone vibrated again with a fresh ping. She hovered and then placed it face down on the table. I'll answer after I finish the school statement, she said. You already gave it, I reminded her, curious about the move. Not the official one, she replied, pulling a chair. I want it printed and posted near the office, she continued. Signed by me with today's date, she finished, already writing. Her pen moved fast like she was outrunning a doubt. I filled 2 glasses and slid one toward her elbow. She lifted it, sipped once, and didn't look up. I'll cover the basics until I pay the cafe debt, she said. I'll skip extras and track every dollar, she added. You don't owe me money, I told her flatly. I owe me discipline, she countered, eyes still on the page. That's the only thing that sticks when the feed turns, she said. I watched her underline a line and circle the date twice. Knock tap soft and then firmer the second time. I opened to find the dean on our step alone. 2 vehicles did slow passes on your street, he reported. Staff is looping patrol and flagging plates, he added. Appreciated, I said, keeping my posture grounded and calm. Mia joined me and spoke before fear could bloom. I called it harassment on the intercom, she told him. I'll repeat it tomorrow if needed, she offered. He studied her for a long, quiet second. You're leading the tone now, he said with finality. Keep it consistent and keep logs, he added, stepping back. See you at first bell, he finished and headed down. We shut the door and leaned on opposite walls. What's next, I asked, because choices came like trains. She lifted her phone and pointed to the block thread. I unblocked 3 people so they can watch me work, she said. That a good idea, I asked without heat or sarcasm. Yes, witnesses can also be receipts, she answered. If they twist it, I respond once and move on, she concluded. I nodded and let her own that strategy without meddling. Dinner ran quiet with a rhythm that felt new. Between bites, she drafted a schedule with neat lines. Cashier on Saturday at 9, counselor follow-up at noon. Peer forum after school next week if the dean approves. Do you want me in the forum? I asked carefully. No, I want you in the hallway after, she replied. In case I wobble when the room empties, she admitted. I can do that, I said and took the plates. Her phone lit again with the old friend's avatar. Mia opened it and read twice before answering. Coffee tomorrow, no recording, the message proposed. Only if you come alone, Mia typed, then put it down. I watched her face settle into something leaner and older. She caught me looking and lifted a shoulder once. I'm not angling for cheers anymore, she said quietly. I'm aiming for solid, she finished and closed her eyes. Later, I scrolled through the new flood and paused. A clip showed her intercom statement with no edits. The caption read simple and unsweetened. Finally owning it, about time. I locked the screen and listened for traffic outside. A single car rolled by and kept rolling. The house held a steady heartbeat that matched mine. I knew the hardest choice was still ahead. The bell blasted and the mic popped. Mia stepped up and held the sheet she drafted. Short update, she began, breath steady and blunt. I mocked my father in public and I'm correcting it. A hush settled like a dare from the building. No names, just choices, she continued, eyes fixed forward. I will repair what I damaged with action, she finished. She clicked off and faced the hallway, ready for impact. A group gathered fast near the trophy case. The tall friend hovered at the edge like a shadow. You're only doing this for clout, the friend tossed. Mia walked closer until the phone lowered by itself. Ask me one hard thing, Mia told her, shoulders squared. What's harder than making jokes about your own parent, the friend snapped. Standing here after and not ducking, Mia answered, jaw tight. Ready to try that today? She asked, voice even. A teacher stepped between them before sparks caught. Forum after last period, the teacher announced, eyes on both. No recordings, no walkouts, the teacher added with authority. The crowd thinned, but the lookers kept peeking back. We met the counselor in the office for logistics. Restorative circle at noon, she stated, pen already moving. Then the forum in the gym, she outlined with crisp beats. Mia nodded once and wrote times on her wrist. At lunch, the circle began with chairs pulled tight. The cashier sat across and folded his hands carefully. Mia addressed him first and left me out of it. I'm responsible for the chaos in your line, she started. He listed concrete fallout without drama or malice. Mia listened without breaking eye contact or fidgeting. I'll show up Saturday to stock and sweep, she pledged. I'll bring my own water and gloves, she added, practical. The counselor closed that bit with a sharp summary. Agreements locked, she said, tapping the paper once. Follow through logged Monday, she assigned, face unreadable. Mia exhaled through her nose and stood taller. The gym filled, the murmur rose and crashed again. Chairs scraped, shoes squeaked, eyes found us fast. A staff member outlined the rules and got out quickly. Mia walked to the center and didn't touch the mic. I liked the rush when you laughed at him, she began. It felt like power, it felt easy, she admitted. Then I saw his hands shake and I kept going, she said. That's who I refuse to be now, she finished, voice calm. A boy near the back challenged her with a smirk. What changed you, going viral, he jabbed, hands in pockets. Seeing his face when I wanted likes, she answered. Then watching the mess land on strangers, she added. The tall friend crossed her arms and tried to grin. Why bring school into your family drama, she pressed. Because I dragged school into it first, Mia answered. You're part of the bill, not the audience, she said. A hand went up from a quiet girl in row 3. What do you want from us, she asked without venom. Hold me to what I promised, Mia replied, clear and direct. And stop sending our street around, she added, eyes steady. The moderator rapped with a brisk nod toward the clock. We're done here, she announced, scanning for stragglers. No more drive-bys near their house, she warned hard. Consequences will be immediate, she promised, ending the session. After school, we reached the curb before the next wave. The tall friend cut us off with a stiff look. My mom wants an apology from you, she told Mia. For embarrassing me on the porch, the friend continued, chin high. You get mine, Mia answered, tone firm but not harsh. You exploited my father, then hid behind your parent, she said. I enabled you, that ends, she finished with one breath. The friend swallowed and glanced around for backup that never came. Do you hate me now? The friend asked, voice small. I don't hate you, Mia replied, eyes unflinching and clear. I hate how I acted with you, she clarified. You can text me when you want to be better, she offered. We headed for the exit and the dean fell in step. Patrol is watching your block until this cools, he said. Mia thanked him and didn't try for jokes. Saturday at 9, she added, reminding herself aloud. We reached the car and sat without turning the key. You ready for Saturday's grind? I asked, keeping it simple. I'm ready to be useful, she answered, fingers still. Useful beats loud today, she added, mouth set. Saturday came with alarms and no snooze. We arrived early and waited outside the shop doors. Mia cracked her knuckles once and then stopped herself. I earn trust with minutes, not speeches, she said quietly. The cashier let us in and handed her the list. Mia scanned and chose the heaviest task first. She worked in short bursts and checked off each line. No performance, just pace and accuracy. A teen walked in and lifted a phone halfway. Mia looked up and lifted a palm like a stop sign. Off or I'll ask you to leave, she told him. He stuffed the phone away and pretended to browse. The hour ended and the cashier nodded once. You put in real work, he told her straight. Come next Saturday too, he added, less guarded now. Mia dipped her chin and said yes without flourish. Outside, the sidewalk felt like level ground for once. Mia rubbed a sore wrist and shook it out. That hurt and I like that it hurt, she said. It means I'm not performing, she finished, eyes distant. We walked past the sneaker shop on purpose. The display glowed like bait from a trap. Mia paused and measured her own stare against it. Not today, she decided and started walking again. Halfway down the block, the tall friend appeared alone. She wore no grin and carried no phone. Coffee, she asked, Mia, voice stripped and uneasy. Just us, she added, hands open and empty. Mia looked at me for one beat and then back. 15 minutes, she said, setting her own terms. On the bench outside, visible, she added. The friend nodded and sat, eyes on her shoes. They talked in fragments while I stood a short distance. I heard apologies and I heard boundaries set clean. I heard a promise to stop dragging family into jokes. I heard nothing about status or numbers. When they finished, the friend lingered like she might hug. Mia stuck out a hand and the friend shook it quickly. No posts about this, Mia said, flat but kind. Receipt is our memory, not the feed, she added. We headed home with the afternoon still sharp. Mia checked her wallet and counted quietly under breath. Enough for basic trial. Nurse, she said, not looking at me. I'll buy them and run them into the ground. We stepped inside and she grabbed the keys again. Your call, I told her, giving the road back. She drove to a discount place and parked without hesitating. Inside, she picked plain stock and stood at the register. She tapped her card and waited without blinking. Proved, she exhaled and lifted the box without posing. These are for walking toward better, she said. I'll chase the fancy pair when my actions deserve them. I kept my face steady and let that land. We left the store and she put them on immediately. She jogged 3 strides and smiled quick, then erased it. Comfort matters when you're rebuilding, she said, half laughing. Evening drifted close with a steady rhythm. Mia pulled out her schedule and adjusted 3 lines. Shift next week, meeting with counselor Tuesday, locker check, she listed. Block numbers that push the home address, she added. Knock came light and then firm once more. The dean stood with a photocopy and a stapler. Your statement is posted by the office, he informed us. Complaints are down, silence is up, he reported. Mia studied the copy and pointed at one sentence. Add that harassment reports go straight to admin, she requested. Done, the dean agreed, marking it with a thick line. He thanked her and left with quick steps. Night settled and I watched the street from the window. One car rolled by and didn't slow at all. Mia joined me and leaned on the frame quietly. We're okay for now, she murmured, eyes still on the road. I thought about the first laugh at my expense. I thought about the store, the crowd, the beeps. I thought about her voice today, trimmed and strong. Some part of me unclenched that I didn't realize was tight. Do you forgive me? She asked, not looking away. I'm choosing to trust you again, I answered, calm and clear. Forgiveness grows when trust shows up, I added softly. She nodded once, like she felt that in her bones. She turned and grabbed her bag from the chair. Run with me tomorrow morning, she asked, almost shy. No talk, just pace, she specified with a small grin. I'll be ready at 6, I told her and meant it. Before bed, Mia set her new shoes by the door. She tapped the toes together like checking a metronome. Not a reward, she said, a tool. I smiled and left it there so it could stick. I switched off the hall light and paused. From her room, I heard the pen scratch and stop. Paper rustled, a drawer shut, a breath steadied. We were not back to easy, but we were moving. In the dark hallway, I pictured the cafe again. The laughter, the cuts, the moment I chose steel. Today rewired something I thought was stuck forever. Tomorrow we run and I won't trail behind.